Today is November 19th, 2050. With the depletion of resources on various continents and the deterioration of the environment, the world has its sights set on Antarctica. The Antarctic Treaty was a dead letter, but human reason. Victory, on the other hand. Final process for the total elimination of nuclear weapons globally began with the practice of global ugliness, the human struggle for the Antarctic continent a little bit safer. And this move, it's an underground nuclear explosion in China. One of the destruction points. Shen Huawan and his wife bring their son. Let's visit this nuclear bomb cancellation meeting together. Underground nuclear facility. It's really not a good place for a family to make friends. But Shen Huabi and his wife actually tried to convince Xiao Shen Yuan make a last-ditch effort. Shen Huabi is now in the advanced stage of blood cancer. The lifespan is at most half a year, but luckily, human hibernation has come of age. He can be in hibernation, waiting for Cher to appear in time. But the most troublesome is his son Shen Yuan. He ignored his parents' objections, insists on hibernating with dad. And as for, why are you trying to convince kids here? It's because there's something here that he's interested in. Myths are introduced by children, destroyed this time. It is the warhead of 8 Zhulong submarine-launched missiles, each equivalent 100,000 tons. Although the destruction treaty provides for no less than how much can be put underground. But there doesn't seem to be any prohibition on putting more. What you saw before, the white sphere surrounded by 8 nuclear warheads. It's an alloy material wrapped in sugar coating, so-called icing. It's a special nanomaterial that I developed, with the function of automatically balancing and distributing hard pressure. Even when the outer explosive explodes, the resulting hard pressure is uneven. Equilibrium distribution of stress through sugar coating. The nuclear explosive it is wrapped in can still be precisely compressed into it. Alas, this is a rare opportunity. All nuclear bombs lost in a short time on Earth. It's hard to generate so much momentary pressure anymore under such tremendous cardiac pressure. What happens to that core material will be a very interesting thing. Come on. Let's go and see the results of the experiment. As they approach the center of the pelvic floor, the vibrations coming from deep in the ground are amplified indirectly until the soles of the feet are numb. As if the depths of the earth, there's a giant rough wheel spinning wildly. In that small group, one man stood up. His name is Den Yuan. He's the person in charge of the material purse compression test project. Detected by radar, the hole is more than 30,000 meters deep, and it keeps getting longer. The compressed field of vision alloy, he sank to the ground, like a rock sinking on the sea. He drilled this hole. These vibrations, it was passed up when he passed through the deadly formation, the alloy used in the experiment. The high temperature of the package has not had time to evaporate. The pictographic pressure accumulated by the icing, compressed into a new form of matter. This substance, in a normal solid state, and neutronic, alkaline pathogens. It is the densest substance ever made by humans. We call it the new solid state. Now, new solid material has recently sunk into solid rock formations like stones in water. When people are paying attention, when focusing on that hole, Zhao Shenyuan suddenly pulled his parents aside. Mom, I'm different from you, staying. Dad went to bed. I don't think you have to go. The future is now fun. For example, the thing that was sent to the center of the earth just now, Zhao Shenyan said, run towards the Pandi Center, where the light is flashing in the distance. Looking at the child's back, Shen Weibi supported his wife's shoulders. Did you hear? He actually became the monitor of 2 classes at school. His desire for power, sharp as a knife, and there is no shortage of practice. His imagination and means. Future. I have to invite you. They're in the midst of a nuclear explosion. We spend our last moments together in silence. Shen Huabi entered a dreamless sleep towards an unknowable future. It is now April 16th, 2125. It took Shenhua a whole day to really wake up. The first 10 hours. His consciousness is a white mist the next 10 hours. Slowly see the blurry white shadows around. Another 3 hours passed. His eyesight slowly returned. Suddenly, there was a deafening knock on the door. A group of people broke into the ward. They called themselves Shen Yuan, victims of the Antarctic Yard project. And the person at the head of it. It turned out to be the son of Deng Yuan, an old colleague of Shenhua, Deng Yang. Don't wait for him to question. This astonishment drove him to marry off the hospital when he left the hospital gate. The quilt's respiratory tract is not fresh air. It's dirty, choking gas. Pedestrians on the street are wearing breathing masks, although the weather is hot, but people wear tight clothes. No one shows their skin. Building around skyscrapers, all seeped into the ash cloud in the air, in the narrow sky. He saw the sun as a faint halo appear after the dark moon, when the halo is a black smoke pattern. That's how he found out. It's not the clouds that block the sky. It was smoke. The future of curing his terminal illness, but it's like a doomsday scene. After being stuffed into a self-driving vehicle, as if to let Shenhua die and understand, Deng Yang spoke slowly. All this is caused by your son. "5 years after you go into hibernation, Antarctica has become the end of the world's current life. Countries are breaking free from control of Antarctica. Just then, your son has nothing but that crazy idea." He claimed that the realization of this vision will turn the Antarctic continent into a courtyard for an entire country. Until then, from Beijing to Antarctica, it will be more convenient than going from Beijing to Tianjin. It's not a metaphor, it's true. Do you feel wronged? You want to know why I take my anger on you? Then it's all thanks to your good son. When he became world famous, he makes a sincere claim. Most of his thoughts and personality, it was formed from his father before the age of 8. That is, your father was the original creator of the Antarctic courtyard. The years to come, just practice some knowledge, just to supplement to the details. In addition to that, you also provided the technical foundation for the Antarctic Yard project. Exactly. It's before you get frozen. The new solid material discovered that can pierce through the center of the Earth. After getting off the bus, Shenhua was staggering as the group entered a cylindrical building. A group of people put on bee suits, like spacesuits, enter a vacuum bee chamber. The atmospheric pressure decreases rapidly as the meter shows, reduced to 0 after about 3 minutes. The door opened, revealing this hermetically sealed building black hole. Inside the hole, Shen Weibi was pushed forward. The halo of headlights is ahead. The light shines on a small bridge, less than a meter wide. The other end reaches into the darkness, so I can't see how long it is. It's dark under the bridge. I'm afraid of being looked back on. Only he was pushed onto the bridge. Everyone else huddled around the bridge, looking at him. He held the railing by the bridge and looked down. The peacock, almost blood-clotted, shot him. He is standing on a deep well. Start the trial now, to pay off the debt your son owes. The small bridge under the bridge suddenly tilted. Shenhua is angry at his fate that glows blue. He falls. He closes his eyes, immersed in falling weightlessness. The body seems transparent. All life cannot bear has left him. In the last few seconds of my life, a lightning bolt of his own not long passed him through his mind. He had made up his mind to know the truth before you die. Now this is the last regret. However, a long time has passed, And that's when I woke up. He opens his eyes. See yourself going faster and faster through one blue halo after another. He expected to reach the bottom of the well at some point, broken down by gravity into dozens of square meters of blood mist bombs. The fall continues. Then he noticed the LCD area of the mask. A line of words glowing red appeared. You have now reached a depth of 100 kilometers, speed 1.4 kilometers per second. Shenhua BA has understood everything. This is the South Pole Garden Project. This well has no land. This is a tunnel through the earth. I don't know how long we took in the field of vision of Shenhua Bay. Still, only the flashing blue halo. But at this time, it is recommended that the port supply organize their thoughts. The memory of Shenhua, shellfish, being hibernated and dusty, slowly unfolds. Shen Yuan was still very young at that time. An Argentine named Biga come to visit Shenhua Bi. During the conversation, Shenhua Bi accidentally mentioned a way for Canadians to communicate with each other. Although Argentina and China are located on opposite ends of the earth, but if you dig a tunnel through the center of the earth, according to the principle of simple oblique motion, people enter the tunnel from one end and keep adding souls. The speed will reach its maximum when passing through the center of the earth, then it starts to decelerate and rise when reaching the other end of the tunnel. Speed is exactly zero. So, zero energy transportation. And the travel time can be shortened to 42 minutes. What Shen Huawei didn't notice was Shen Yuan was listening to it all in a trance. Shen Huawei's words. The seeds of madness were sown in Shen Yuan's heart. Not bundle memories. Shen Huabi said to himself. So, Antarctic Courtyard Project. It's a tunnel from China to the South Pole. Huh. Great project. Is it great? Below, I want to tell you the disaster caused by the Antarctic Sports Project. It turned out that Deng Yang had been waiting closely for Shen Huabi. It was a trial. Also, Shen Huabi died to understand. At this moment, the blue light emitted by the closure suddenly turned red. You have now reached a depth of 6,300 miles. Bathed in this most beautiful fear, in Shen Huabi's mind, a magnificent symphony sounded. He travels at first cosmic speed. This red light has the greatest confidence, as if floating into the veins of the earth. This closed red light that makes blood boil. It only lasted for more than 10 seconds. It turns back into condensed blue light. Then Yang went on to say, Antarctic Courtyard is a project of the century. 3 disasters occurred during the decades of construction. The first disaster happened 25 years ago. That's the best exploration and design phase of the project. It's going to take a lot of underground travel. Exploration voyage again. An underground ship named Sunset 6, sailing through the mantle and sink into the river. 2 of the 3 crew members on board were killed. Only 1 female civil aviation officer from a year ago survived. She is still locked in the heart. Will spend the rest of his life in a cramped underground boat. The mid-position device on the ship, launch function, has been lost, but it may still be acceptable. By the way, his name is Shen Jingshan, your granddaughter. The second Antarctic project is in its 6th year. Another tragic middle fault disaster. In the well ring, just hollowed out by the 2 teams, There is a strong iron countercurrent in the field, and the flow rate is the same as in a large number of previous explorations. 5 times the highest value observed. The powerful impact is the 2 rim seats. High temperature and high pressure. Geonuclear material surges in an instant, enter the tunnel, and soar up along the built tunnel. Only after the rupture occurred, as the project commander-in-chief, Shen Yan, immediately ordered the security gate to be closed. But this time, under the floodgates, there's 2,500 engineers working on this. More than 130 lifts require 61 to pass in time. 1,527 people assisted the local criminal. But then in court, his alibi said that if you let him go, every time too, the largest volcanic eruption since the formation of the Earth. The night beasts in the body are high towards the stratosphere Earth. Rainstorm in Tiangshui. 4 eyes of white light save the stone tablet. Night turns into day. The Asian continent will be filled with a refining furnace. But that didn't happen, did it? And the law is just an abyss. Resigned and left the lime layer of the Antarctic Courtyard project. And there's a third catastrophe. It happened 5 years ago. A maintenance worker accidentally dropped a bolt less than 10 centimeters in diameter, fell into the tunnel. Proved that Luotian has reached the center of the Earth. It's one of the reverse trains. The relative speed of Luotian and the train, up to 16 kilometers per second. This kind of fight can make him like a bomb. He penetrated the first 2 carriages, gasified everything along the way. The explosion of these 2 carriages is the entire train traveling at 8 kilometers per second, rub against the wall of the well. It was torn to shreds in an instant. A large amount of debris is moving back and forth in the tunnel. It took a month to completely clear the debris from the tunnel. But the remains of the 3,000 passengers on the train, not found. The heat in the core has completely cremated them. Is the greatest disaster. It's the project itself. Humans' Antarctic dream will soon be shattered. The influx of industry and transitional development soon destroyed the last clean world left on this planet. It makes Antarctica like any other continent. A dusty dump. The rising sun over Antarctica was completely disrupted. The implications are global. Even in the northern hemisphere, intense ultraviolet light. It is also that people must be protected to go out. The accelerated melting of the Antarctic ice sheet. It also contributes to a positive rise in global sea levels after going through a painful process. Human reason has once again reached a peak. All member states of the United Nations signed a new Antarctic Convention. The complete withdrawal of humans from the Antarctic continent. Turning Antarctica off the beaten track again. After the Luotian disaster, ground trains have come to a complete halt. The economic disaster caused by his Antarctic Courtyard project. Keep losing investment. Underworld suspects can be used to save the environment. Cold refugees. But they were wasted on a stupid... The black hole of his empty city killing investment. Bringing the national economy to the brink of collapse. He single-handedly had collapsed the world economy. Now, we are still in the depths of this disaster. Wandering in pain. After the train was shut down, as a left-behind personnel to build the starting point of Mohi, falling back and forth in the tunnel every day in a protective suit. only when eating and taking bees to replenish energy. Just got back to the starting point. Shake absorption is coordinated between the Mohi River and the Antarctic Peninsula. It is said that in this eternal fall, every time you pass through the ground, he will pass through the middle position communication device. Communicate with my daughter. It's also the only way that nerves get information from the outside world. He died of a heart attack in a fall. No one noticed at the time. Therefore, his body lay in the tunnel for another 2 days. Bees run out of energy. The last time the corpse passed through the ground invasion, burned to ashes. The bee Buddha you're wearing will soon run out of power. Fan Cheng was burned to ashes by the center of the earth. Your son is interested in this. A home is very satisfactory. This is where I belong to, right? You deserve to be satisfied too, before dying. A complete view of what your son has created. Yes, I am satisfied. This life is enough. No answer. The buzzing sound in the earphones suddenly disappeared. The Avengers on the other side of the earth. Interrupted communication. North China passes through this last blue aperture. The bees are running out of battery, as planned. Then comes the fall of death. But unexpectedly, on the small bridge at the other end of the tunnel, and there are a couple of guys in bee suits, and these guys immediately reached out and grabbed him, and they dragged him over the bridge. A police officer told Shenhua Bi. They were left behind among the Antarctic flight attendants. A small number of police officers, after receiving the alarm from Dongmian Hospital, immediately rushed to the South Pole Station. The obscene police officer explained to him. Once the guys who are going to be lewd have been arrested, they will be charged with homicide. But I understand their feelings. Shenhua Bi looked at the sun in the sky, and I breathed a sigh of relief. My life is enough. If so, it will be easier for you to accept what comes next. You cannot survive in this era. Otherwise, this kind of thing will happen again. Fortunately, the government has a time immigration plan to reduce the pressure of the population on the environment, forcing a portion of the population into hibernation. Let them live in the future. The government has now decided you will be a member of Time 1 year. Re-enter hibernation. But how long will it take to wake up this time? I can't tell. A smile appeared on Shenhua Bai's face. It doesn't matter. The key is that I see it first. The Earth Tunnel has once again become the pride of humanity. How is that possible? This is a completely failed gigafactory. Can only be a pillar of shame for your father and son forever. Some things can't be made clear once people. Perhaps it will take decades, centuries. The original decision can reveal its meaning. The Great Wall and the pyramids completely failed super projects. The former failed to stop the invasion of the Northern Horsemen. The latter also failed to revive the pharaoh mummy among them. But time is it doesn't matter. Only the human spirit condensed on it. Forever radiant. Compared to this great geocentric wall. You weeping Meng Jiangnu. How pitiful. The myth was revived half a century later. After he woke up, he almost experienced same thing as the awakening 50 years ago. Taken into a car by a group of strangers into the Earth Tunnel, China puts on a bee suit. But what puzzled him was that this bee suit, it is actually much heavier than the inner body of 50 years ago. The next step is to be thrown into the Earth Tunnel again, begin a long fall. 40 years later, Earth tunnels don't look much different. It is still represented by an infinite number of blue circles. Bottomless nerve. But this time, someone accompanied her to the fall. She is a beautiful girl. She introduced herself as her tour guide. Could it be that the Earth Tunnel really became the Great Wall and the Pyramid? The tour guide girl held Shen Wabi's hand in weightlessness, carefully keep pace with it as it falls. No, the tunnels did not become the Great Wall and the Pyramids. It has a new name, Earth Cannon. After you hibernate, the global environment is further deteriorating. Pollution and destruction, rapidly disappearing the last vegetation on the continents. Breathable air has become a commodity. In order to save the Earth's ecology, only by shutting down all heavy industry and the energy industry. But give up all human technology and go back to the hairy ant colony. It will only destroy human civilization. The most feasible way is to land. All the industries on the planet were transferred to space and the moon. Shen Wabi is still laughing at what the tour guide said. He was also thinking about it in such an extreme environment. What kind of technological progress can humans make? But then he realized, after passing through the center of the Earth, they're accelerating and using pedal jink. The other thing was that he felt gravity. During this fall through the Earth, the White Eagle is weightless from start to finish. But he felt gravity. The essence of the scientist soon told him, this is not gravity, it's thrust. That's the thrust. To overcome the Earth's growing attractive forces. Keep accelerating. You must remember Verne's moon landing cannon. Science fiction novels you read in your childhood, from old knowledge. Fire with a cannon. Astronauts are bound to turn into meat sauce. It was crushed into meat sauce because the acceleration was too great. The acceleration is too high because the barrel is too short. But if the barrel is long enough, the cannonball can be fired with gentle acceleration. Like the same as you feel now. Resistance to the atmosphere consumed some speed. We're still outpacing the epidemic rate. We are flying away from the Earth. In the barrel of the Earth cannon, there are 5 or 6 shells running all the time. Is that so? It fires out a spacecraft every 8 to 10 minutes. Getting into space is now as easy as taking the subway. When the Great Migration began 20 years ago, is the most frequent period. Earth cannon at a frequency of 2 or 3 minutes. Shooting into space. PVB spacecraft formed a wounded meteor shower. It is humanity's solemn challenge to destiny. Continuous characterization. The scene of Shenhua Baibi, intoxicated. Look at the blue earth below. Tears welled up in his eyes. His greatest wish now, it is for those who have participated in the Antarctic Garden Project. Everyone, past, present. Look at these. And he was thinking about one person in particular. A woman who will always be young in everyone's eyes. Did you find my granddaughter? Not yet. But we've been using neutrinos to communicate. Send him everything from the outside world. We believe he will see.